Welcome to Franchise Focus. I'm Laura Blackmore, your host, and a franchise consultant with over a decade experience in franchising. Franchising isn't one size fits all, and this podcast helps focus on what truly matters. Each week, we pull back the curtain with top industry experts. Whether you're exploring your first franchise or expanding your portfolio, let's dive in. Welcome to Franchise Focus. Today, our guest is Nic Leland, Senior Director of Franchise Development at Front Street Equity Partners. He's leading the franchise growth for goGlow, a skincare and sunless tanning brand that's been expanding quickly across the U.S. We'll dig into how the model works, what's driving interest, and what Nic looks for when bringing in qualified owners or potential owners. So welcome, Nic. How are you?
I'm doing great, Laura. I appreciate you having me.
I would love for you to, give us a little background about yourself, and then, a little bit more onto how goGlow got into the franchising world.
Absolutely. Well, I'll try to keep my background short and sweet because I know we're here to talk mostly about goGlow and the opportunity there. But I've been in franchising for about 8 years or so. Most of my time in franchising is actually over on the operations and education side. I worked with a very rapidly growing wellness brand. So for a couple of years, my first foray into franchising was living out of a hotel, going from city to city, getting new locations open, which was basically a masterclass in how franchising works. It was really cool to see, the inner workings and sit across from franchisees and understand, what are their pain points? What are the things that they're most excited about? I made the jump into development probably 2-ish years ago, a little bit over 2 years ago, was working with a brand that ultimately wasn't the right fit, but working with that brand led me to meeting Bobby Brennan, who's one of the partners at Front Street. And then I got connected to goGlow. So I've been with goGlow we're coming up on almost 2 years. I can't quite call myself a day oneer working with the goGlow team. I joined probably 90 days after beginning the franchising journey, but like to consider myself an honorary member of the team. But it's been cool to see the growth, being there almost since the beginning. Here we were 2 years ago for no locations, no territories
Right.
awarded, which if you take it all the way back, this is an emerging franchise concept, but it's not necessarily a new brand. Melanie Richards, the founder, got this started back in 2010 or so, actually just celebrated 15 years in business. But at the beginning, it started as just a mobile concept. She was doing it, driving around the Twin Cities of Minneapolis and St. Paul, scaled it up to multiple trucks, ultimately decided, what, more scale is going to happen if I'm in a physical location. She started going into a salon suite, then expanded to 2 rooms in a salon suite, got kicked out of the salon suite because she was too busy, and ultimately opened her first flagship location back in 2015. There are 3 corporate locations that opened in 2015, 2017, and 2020. And then 2023, the timing was right. And I'm excited to dig into some of the key differentiating elements of goGlow. But when you think about the development of the equipment and the solution, and then the partnership with Front Street, all of these stars kind of aligned that July 2023 is when we really brought this to the prime time. Today, as a quick progress report, actually, as of this morning, we have our newest franchisee joining us. We have 105 territories that we've awarded. There are 39 franchisees in markets all across the United States. We have 17 locations open, 2 new locations opening in the next 2 weeks, which one of them I'm personally very excited about. I live in Austin, Texas. So one of those locations, I wish we were doing this recording maybe 3 or 4 weeks later because I'd be looking a lot better than I do right now. But, it is what it is. I'll have to come back on another time when I've got a blow on. But we've got another 20 to 25 locations in development. So the growth has been really, really exciting to see over the last couple of years. So that was a very long-winded answer to your question.
No, I mean, I should just let you keep going because you're doing exactly what people want to know and what I would have been asking anyway. Your background, though, I think really gives some unique advantage to candidates coming through. One, because you've seen candidates in the trenches opening, so you can give some perspective there. You probably can also see red flags pretty easily too. And I think that's helpful to candidates, right? People don't want to get into the wrong brand, but so that's exciting to know. And let's talk about the actual offering, the customer experience, so people get a full sense of what goGlow does and how customers come in. Maybe jump into that a little bit.
Yeah, so a lot of people know about spray tanning, but
Mhm.
their perception of it and their knowledge of the industry is altogether pretty negative. Almost every single person I talk to is like, a spray tan business? What are you talking about? That's what people know about this, that you're going to walk out looking orange. It's going to be sticky on your skin. It's going to smell bad. It's going to stain your sheets. It's going to stain your clothes. And yet, despite all of those things, the industry still continues to grow. There was some market research that came out actually about a week ago or so that the industry between 2023 and 2033 will increase by $400 million. It just continues to grow up and to the right, which is astonishing to me because the quality of what's being offered in most places is stagnant, if not declining. And that's where I really think goGlow has a unique opportunity to capture an existing demand for a service that people are already looking for. To draw a comparison, we see ourselves as kind of like the European Wax Center or the Dry Bar of the sunless tanning category, brands who reimagined what those categories were in the first place. What European Wax Center did for, the hair removal category, what Dry Bar did for the blowouts. I mean, take Dry Bar, for example. If you were to tell me 10 years ago that people would be paying 70, $80 to get their hair washed and dried, I'd have thought you were crazy, but there's a strong demand for it. And they saw that and they captured it. When we think about what's unique about goGlow, we've got to, spray tanning is happening all over the place. When we do our market research, we see that there is tanning happening in just about every corner of the country. People are looking for better alternatives. So there's three key pillars that I would highlight when it comes to the differentiation of goGlow. One is the equipment. And if we go back in time, around 2017 and 2018, Melanie Richards, our founder, she started working with a team of engineers and a team of chemists because she was looking around the industry and realizing, hey, I'm doing this a little bit differently than anyone, and I want to continue to distance myself. And that's one of the things that I have the most respect for and love the most about Melanie. She's a very long range thinker, not just willing to think about where the brand is today, but also where the brand is headed. And that's what began the development of pillar number one, which is the equipment. That equipment is not only proprietary, but as of last December, it's actually fully patented. So we have operational protection around the overspray booth that our technicians use for the delivery of the service. This helps with quality of result, it helps with consumer safety, and it helps with cleanliness of the facility. That's a lot of what people know about spray tan salons right now. They're probably dirty, they're probably dingy, there's probably stains on the floor and the walls. That's not goGlow at all. So you've got the equipment. Now, the actual solution that we're spraying on your skin is also a proprietary formulation. Mass produced tanning solution is usually pretty heavy in things like preservatives or alcohols. Those are the things that lead to the smell and the drying out of your skin and sometimes the weird color. So what Melanie did is worked with a team of chemists to reimagine what that solution could look like and replace some of those harmful ingredients with things that are actually good for your skin. Because at the end of the day, we want you to walk out of goGlow not only with a great tan, but also having done something quality for your skin. And we round out the experience with our proprietary skincare line. So you have products that are designed as both pre and post care, but also products that exist really strongly on their own. Our running joke with our Hydrate lotion is that if we sold it by the gallon with a pump on top, people would probably buy it because they love it that much. And the numbers speak to that. If you look at our most recent FDD, 25% of our revenue comes from those skincare product sales. You have an entire, almost like a business within the business here. And that's based on that idea. It's a natural extension of the education that we want to provide to our consumer. This is one of the things that you'll see. I don't want to paint with too broad a brush when we talk about the other guys. I'll say 99% of folks out there. I'm sure there's a few that are maybe doing it better than others, but most of the time when you walk into a spray tan salon, they're going to ask you what you want. Hey, Laura, what color do you want? I don't know. I'm new here. You should be telling me. That's where we want to take more of a consultative approach and understand, what is your current routine? What are the things that you're actively doing to take care of your skin or not doing to take care of your skin? I'm a perfect example of this. The first time I got a goGlow, they said, Nick, what's your skincare routine? And I was like, what skincare routine? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. I use Dove Men's 3-in-1. I buy a 2-pack at Costco. It's like 40 ounces. And they were like, no, that's not going to do. And educated me about how, though there's really strong marketing for products like that, it's not necessarily very good for your skin, and it will interfere with the results of your goGlow. So those are some of the key figures. I think from a consumer standpoint, that's some of the particular elements. But we could also dive into some of the things from a business owner or franchisee perspective too.
Yeah. So how, In terms of the attraction of customers, how does that work? And I assume you have a membership model, and how are
We
you marketing?
do. Yeah, there are two memberships to select from. As a quick aside, one of the things I think you and any of your listeners will notice about goGlow once you take a deeper dive, it's a very simplistic model. Everything that we talk about is very straightforward, and that's intentional.
Mhm.
We want to be the unequivocal category leader in what we're doing. We don't do that by trying to be the master of 19 different things. We say, this is the thing that we're good at, and we're going to continue to dominate this specific category. That also extends to things like our membership model. We don't need to have 20 different options. We have two, one goGlow per month or two goGlow per month. And those will then afford you different discounts on other products and services, some level of incentive for being a member. And there are other benefits that we are, beginning to incorporate around being a member. But that is a strong foundation for new franchisees who are going to launch. So when we think about customer acquisition, when we think about marketing, our entire objective and our goal is driving people to the front door, what we call solution on skin. At the end of the day, talk is cheap. And I'm going to tell people all day, every day, hey, this is the best tan that you're going to ever get. Candidates will experience this. As we're talking to prospective franchisees, they'll be like, hey, I like the business model, but I'm not sure about this service. And I say, come to Minnesota, come to Confirmation Day and try it. And I will tell you, there's not been a single person that's come to Confirmation Day that is less excited about the service after they've received it. I mean, it's the same exact story when you have
The big testimony.
customers walking in where they're going to go, I've been spray tanning for years and you're telling me that this is the best one. Hey, your first one's going to be half off. It's on me. Come on in. We want to get people, we want to drive traffic to the front door. Now, there's a few different ways that we do that. Number one is good old fashioned community engagement. And this is one of the things that we look for in prospective franchisees. Are you that person that's excited about building community? That's one of our key core foundational principles. Community. We've got, these ideas of collaboration with fellow franchisees. These are some of the things that we really are building the foundation of our franchise system on. So that's number one, just going out in the community and networking.
Okay.
When people hear that as cold calling or door-to-door sales, it's none of that. It's truly just educating and letting everybody know, hey, we're here. Now, will this be different 2 to 3 years from now? Yes, it will, because we will have more brand awareness. But the reality of being an emerging concept, we're going into a lot of these markets that no one has been before. And so you maybe have a handful of people who've even heard of goGlow before. So that's kind of bucket number one, is that customer acquisition through community engagement. We also will do digital initiatives. So lead generation and direct booking campaigns through Franchise Ramp is the primary agency that we work with. Creative, social media, email, text, all the things that happen behind your screen, and then PR as well. All of these, once again, to drive traffic to your front door and see solution on skin. And for anybody listening to this, you also may think, hey, that sounds really cool. Is the tan really as good as I think it is? Don't take my word for it. I would encourage anybody to go and look at the Google reviews of locations all across the country. And what you will see consistently, 5-star, 5-star, 5-star. And the things that we are hoping people will experience, hey, this is the best tan I've ever gotten. The products were super quality. The staff was friendly and informative. The facility itself was clean. Those are the things that are going to continue to help us win as we reimagine this category.
Do you do a pre-sales before you open? Are you targeting a certain number of members?
I would say candidly, that number is we're still honing in on specific totals because our franchisees keep outperforming themselves. And so where we think that there's a particular number, then all of a sudden a franchisee comes in and says, hey, I'm going to do X number of memberships, or I'm going to do X number of memberships. But also, quite honestly, memberships is something that we implemented about 1.5 years ago or so. And funny enough, when folks do research on goGlow, occasionally they'll find an article with our founder, Melanie, from like 2017 or 2018, where she very specifically and emphatically says, we're not going to do a membership model. Of course, it's, obviously things can develop and change over time, but there's a very good reason for it. Back in 2017, 2018, and a little bit earlier, having a tanning membership meant something very specific. It drew to mind walking into an older, dirtier salon, really cheap experience. That is what having a tanning membership meant. And she said, we're not going to do that at goGlow. That's not what we want to be associated with.
Yeah.
Now, of course, in 2025, every single thing you can imagine is on a membership or a subscription. I
Right.
mean, my dog's food got delivered to my front door just yesterday evening. Everything is on a subscription, especially as we prepare for nationwide scale. Memberships and recurring revenue is absolutely something that we wanted to incorporate. But to your question, Laura, there's still room for us to figure out exactly where that sweet spot is. And it's a good problem for us to have right now, as you know, our franchisees, there's a healthy level of competition in our franchisees, and I love to see it, where it's like, you did how many memberships? Yeah, I'm going to do that then. We just continue to see the bar raised across the board.
Right, right. In terms of market, is there a ideal size of market, population that you're looking for?
I would say just about every major metro. Here's some of the things that we look for. Population density is something that would be important, but when we are evaluating site selection areas or territories, there's three primary criteria that we start with. Number one is, where does your likely customer live? And we use a variety of data points and consumer analytics to determine, all right, where is the likely consumer base actually residing? But you don't just want to take into account where people's houses are. You also want to see where they're going to shop. So we'll take into account the presence of retail centers, but also complementary co-tenants or other businesses that will have a similar type of clientele to a goGlow, both based on what we've seen anecdotally, but also what the data tells us too.
Yeah.
So this is going to be things like boutique fitness. So where's the Club Pilates and the Orange Theories and the Core Powers and the Cycle Bars? Where are all of those locations? You look for other beauty. I mentioned a couple of them earlier. European Wax Center, Amazing Lash, Dry Bar. We'll look for the med spas and the IV drip centers and the sauna red light wellness facilities. We also will then kind of round out that picture with high-end grocery stores. So where's the Whole Foods, where's the Trader Joe's or the Fresh Market or whatever regional variety there might be. And when we look at all those things together, you'll see pretty clear clusters begin to emerge in a lot of places. Like, all right, that's where we're going to go. Okay, that's where we're going to go. And what's so funny to me, when we get on these territory mapping calls with our prospective franchisees, 9 times out of 10, if not more often, what I think the territory is going to look like is what they already know about their market. It almost confirms what people are already understanding about it. A lot of the folks that are coming into the system, they are spray tanners themselves, or they do boutique fitness. So it's like, what kind of shopping center do you want to go into? What sort of market do you want to be in? And often those things end up matching up.
Okay, that makes total sense. Okay. In terms of technology that you use or the franchisee is going to have available, can you talk to that a bit?
Sure. Yeah, we have we use Zenoti is the name of our point of sale CRM software. It's one of the larger ones in the industry. So that's most of what the booking is done through the website. There's also a goGlow app that folks can download and manage their bookings that way. We have a learning management system. We call it the Glow Up because, of course, we do. We call it the Glow Up. That's going to be accessible to everyone in our franchise system. And there are different learning journeys based on each person's position. So a spray technician will have a different learning experience than a manager, which will have a different experience than an owner. So we want to make sure that not only there's a strong foundation of education on the front end when people are initially getting trained, but also on an ongoing basis. And there are ongoing education initiatives that we'll host there on the Glow Up. We have, Zenoti provides pretty robust reporting, but reporting is only so good as the insights and the actions you can take off of that reporting. And so as of late, we've been working on building in certain business intelligence tools, ways that there's more aesthetically pleasing and actionable dashboards with some of those data points. We have social media management tools that will make it easy for people to utilize branded content to post on their Instagram pages. I'm trying to think if there's any others off the top of my head. I think those are probably the heavy hitters. I'm sure I'm missing something there, but we definitely do want to make sure that we are being as cutting edge and on the up and up from a technology standpoint, and utilizing these technologies not just for the sake of technology, but to make franchisees' lives easier and allow them to run their businesses more effectively.
When someone opens, what's the staff mix typically look like?
As far as number of staff, you mean?
And who's doing what? Yeah.
So This goes back to the simplicity of the model. You really only have to know how to do one key thing, and that is what we call the perfect 20 minutes. So each staff member is going to be trained in exactly the same way. And as a quick side note about staffing, one of the things that for your listeners and for candidates that are coming through, one of the things that they are drawn most to about goGlow is the fact that it's a beauty concept with no licensure requirements.
Yeah.
The labor pool gets significantly larger. When you hear from some of our franchisees, they'll tell you that's a big selling point to them. That was really valuable because that's one of the most challenging aspects of running any business. Most specifically, though, in beauty, a lot of times you're going to look for estheticians or cosmetologists or people with particular backgrounds and licensures. And at goGlow, you don't have to have that. So it significantly opens up those options. Now, once we identify who those people are, and because you're not evaluating for technical expertise, it gives you the luxury of evaluating more for the soft skills criteria, things like personality. I can't teach you to have a personality, some level of customer service ability, or maybe a background in sales or hospitality. Those are typically the people that make good employees at goGlow. But when we talk about that perfect 20 minutes,
Yeah.
that is the length of time that we are engaging with the customer. They're going to walk in, we're going to do that consultation, deliver their service, do the presentation of products and sell product at the end, turn over the room and get ready for the next person. So we want to make sure that we can keep that really tight and informative. So that's really who we're trying to get spun up. Now, as far as number of people, you'll typically have one full-time manager, which some of our franchisees do choose the owner-operator route and decide that they themselves are going to be the manager. Or we have some of our franchisees who will go more towards the executive model where their focus is more on the back end of the business and they hire a manager to run the day-to-day. Generally, folks will hire 7 to 10 technicians. Most folks are part-time. We actually have found the most level of success with part-time employees who also hold other jobs, which might sound a little bit backwards, but that has been sort of the sweet spot for a lot of our franchisees. I think there's a general understanding of, part-time workers. And some people who are listening to this may go, oh, I don't want to mess with part-time folks. I like to clarify and say these are people who happen to work part-time hours, but we still are hiring for a very high caliber person. Somewhat connected to staffing is also the size of the facility, usually about 1,000 to 1,300 square feet, which usually will render 5 treatment rooms in most cases, maybe 6, but usually 5 is the sweet spot for a lot of people. That means that at peak capacity, you will have one technician for each room of the facility. So at the busiest night you have, you'll probably have 5 folks working. So you want to have a little bit more than that to kind of flex in. And especially during grand opening and kind of the front end, it's, we expect it to be a little bit busier. So that's typically the number that we'd see. But there are also certain economies of scale with staffing. So for our multi-unit owners, and we see this at our corporate stores in Minnesota as well, you can share staff amongst locations. One of the unique things about goGlow is I'm not booking a service with Laura or with Hannah or
Right.
with Chelsea. I'm just booking a goGlow, which
Yeah.
means I, as the owner or the manager, whomever is running the scheduling, I get a little bit more plug and play ability. It also means that you can share staff amongst different locations because it's not
Right.
like my Thursday appointment at 5 o'clock with Laura. It's like, no, I'm going in for a Thursday 5 o'clock goGlow. And if Laura's my technician, then great. But we're not necessarily wanting to build any sort of connection to that particular staff member. We want people to really be gravitating towards the service more broadly.
Got it. No, that makes a lot of sense. I could imagine there's some great crossover from either health and fitness or even, servers that have great skills with communicating with customers. Yeah.
All of the above. I mean, that's really the key and the foundation of it. People is at the heart of everything that we're doing. And so we want to make sure that we hire people that have skills with people. I mean, and not to be, too direct about it, but let's be honest. When you come in for a spray tan, you are typically removing clothing. And so when you're hiring, I mean, the time between first meeting someone at the front desk and then being potentially undressed in front of that person for a service, I mean, that's the matter of a few minutes. So that's one of the key criteria when you're evaluating your prospective employee is there's someone there that's going to be able to cultivate and make that a safe and comfortable experience for the client. You hit the nail on the head with some of the key industries that we see, servers, hospitality, even some folks that have been, in healthcare, those that are very patient facing, people that have some of that higher EQ definitely are a great fit at goGlow.
Gotcha. Gotcha. From your standpoint, what makes a great owner?
That's a great question. I won't get too deep into all of these, but we use our 5 C's as our criteria. C number one is going to be capital. So as we evaluate franchisees, we want to make sure that they have capital, not only from a financial standpoint, but also intellectual capital. What is their experience level? How are they going to parlay some of their prior skills into this new venture that they're going to be doing? Number two is going to be cooperation. So are you the kind of person that's going to be able to collaborate with other prospective franchisees? When you enter into a franchise system, you are joining a network. You're not just going off and doing this on your own. And that's one of the most advantageous components of this whole experience. Number three is going to be capacity. So are you able to be a business owner? Do you have the talent to do this? And this somewhat goes with that intellectual capital piece. Number four is going to be commitment. Are you not only able, but are you willing to do this? Do you have the stomach for it? I mean, being a business owner is hard. You talk to folks and guide them through this process all day, every day. Those are some of the key things. There's a lot of really talented people out there that don't utilize that talent effectively because they don't have the work ethic to actually apply it. So we want to see those things happen together. And then the fifth one would be community, which somewhat goes with the collaboration piece as well. But are you going to fit into this overall network of people? And that, I would say, community/culture, let's make it 6 C's potentially. And that's really where this mutual evaluation is a big piece of it. I want to look across the table at confirmation day, and I want to know, and the brand team wants to know, this person is going to be a solid culture fit. But we also encourage our candidates to evaluate the brand under those same criteria. Do you feel like a culture fit? I mean, this is a marriage essentially that we're evaluating here. We want to make sure that everybody feels really strongly.
That's great. That's really great. And you talked about the number of locations sold and how many are opening. And I think that's a strong testament to you've got to have good systems there because I've seen too often where a lot of locations are sold, but it's taken too long to open. I think that means a lot. What does that timeline typically look like for a prospective owner?
I would say on average, probably 8 to 10 months or so from the time you sign your agreement until getting your doors open. There are a lot of things in life that you can will your way through. Real estate availability and permitting timelines, unfortunately, are not on that list. And so there are some factors in that construction and that development process that are a bit out of our control.
Yeah.
But we do want to make sure that we are moving as quickly as possible. And I would say over time, we've gotten more effective. I
Mhm.
think we've been able to work with our real estate search partner, Morrow Hill, to get sites uploaded more quickly. Working with some of our construction management partners on understanding more specifically what are the projections of timelines. But 8 to 9 months is what we've seen. I mean, I've seen as quick as 4 to 4.5 months and as long as a little bit over a year. And there can be different factors that go into that. But one of the things that you said, Laura, and I'm glad that you recognize this about the goGlow system, we are not just interested in awarding territory. That is a fun metric for us in the world of franchise development to pat ourselves on the back and say, look how good we're doing. But we really want to make sure that there is alignment on that 5C criteria that you're actually going to get these locations open. And maybe it's bad salesmanship of us, but we talk people out of territory all the time. Someone might come in and say, I'm a first-time entrepreneur. I want to do 5 territories. And I look at the bank statement that they have and their pre-approval letter, and it's like, hey, we could do 2. Maybe we should start with just 1. Like I want to be evaluating these candidates and make sure that nobody is overextending or over leveraging themselves. And so when we think about that development, that's also part of the process, is making sure that when we're evaluating and bringing franchisees into the system, that we all have full intent of those locations getting open. I mean, it's always fun to announce the 10 pack or whatever it is, but unless that person actually has the operational and financial means to get those locations open, it doesn't really matter.
No, that's comforting. That is really huge, and that should be seen loud and clear by your prospective candidates, I would imagine as well, that you are in business to get those open and support them, as they
Absolutely.
go.
Well, and one of the key things that we always say through this process is our goal is not to get you to buy a goGlow franchise. Our goal is to help you arrive at a decision. And if your decision is that you want to be a goGlow franchisee, we will shepherd you through the process of completing that. But if your
Mhm.
decision at any point becomes, I don't think I want to be a goGlow franchisee, that's okay. Go talk to Laura, and Laura's going to help you find what your next venture is going to be. We want folks to be in the right fit. We we will say that this is a 2 yes, 1 no type of a situation. You come to confirmation day and you get the approval from the brand. Well, that's yes number 1. The brand has given the yes to you, and we want an enthusiastic yes back. I was
Yeah.
having a conversation with someone a few weeks ago, and we were talking about this exact same topic. If you get to the end of this discovery process after your 4 to 6 to 8 weeks and you're still not feeling it, don't do it. Just don't buy that business. Go find something that you do feel steadfastly enthusiastic about, because as an emerging brand, there's a lot that we do have figured out. And I'm very proud to work with and represent this brand. But it's also an emerging concept. And there are things that we don't have figured out, or things that we continue to develop and hone in and grow over time. So are you the kind of person that's excited about that? Well, great. Then let's talk and let's, see what the goGlow opportunity could be like. But at the end of the day, really, it's about making sure that we are all aligned with who that person's interests. Is this a business that you're fundamentally, passionately excited about? And if the answer is yes, our franchisees that we have a welcome call with this afternoon, one of the things that the feedback that they gave us after confirmation day was, it far exceeded my expectations. And the quote that she provided was, "I've never felt more beautiful in my own skin." I was like,
Oh,
that's it. That's what it's about right there. Like,
fantastic.
if
Yeah.
that's what you feel about goGlow, then great, let's talk about this. But occasionally you'll have people that are like, nah, not for me. No worries. All good. Our goal is to get you to arrive at a decision, and whatever that decision may be, we can kind of forge a path forward from there.
That's fantastic. That's a process that's working. That's really great. Any other closing comments that you'd like to share?
No, I think we're growing quickly but responsibly, making
Yep.
sure that we're continuing to plan for demand. We have some new team members that just joined, a senior accountant, new director of marketing starting next month. We're growing our new studio operations team. So a lot of exciting growth. And for anybody listening, if you'd like to learn more about goGlow, I'd be very excited to chat with you and share a little bit more about the opportunity.
Fantastic, Nick. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks so much for having me, Laura. Great conversation.
Thanks. That's a wrap for this episode of Franchise Focus. I hope you found today's conversation insightful and inspiring. If you're thinking about franchise ownership or want to learn more about the brands we discuss, connect with me on LinkedIn or visit my website at blackmorefranchiseconsulting.com, or just leave a comment. And if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe, like, comment, and share it with someone. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time on Franchise Focus.